The queen is back.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that with my clip-ins. Today we're talking about MILF culture, which I feel like I have been waiting for us to touch base on this. It's like something that's just like huge right now. It's been big for a while. Like I said, I wanted to talk about like what are the first things that like we've seen maybe in like culture, like pop culture or songs, you know what I mean, that have made it change. Because I feel like women in general, like back in like the 50s and 60s, it was like you only had sex with your wife when you wanted to have a kid. Like it's very much like more.
You mean a man had sex with a woman when they want to have a kid?
It was more of a transaction than it was for pleasure. Right now, it's totally different. Like we are praising women.
But we only know that because of books. There could have been dirty people back then.
I'm sure that there were some.
Lots of them.
But I'm just saying it wasn't like that. It wasn't a cultural thing back then.
Definitely wasn't.
Now we're listening to Megan Thee Stallion singing about like how wet her pussy is all the time.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
And like no one's hating that. You know what I mean? But like you definitely could not. There were not songs in 1950. You cannot. If you have a song from 1950 that talks about that, please send it to me.
Yeah, definitely.
Would love to hear it.
Yeah, definitely.
But I really feel like for me, my first recollection of like hearing somebody be attracted to somebody's mom was like American Pie, Stifler's mom.
Okay, got you. Yep.
Okay,
yep,
so
yep.
like, and I feel like that was huge. Like, and everybody was like, it was shocking at the time, but like, was it like today? It wouldn't be at all. Back then, I felt like it was a little shocking. Like, oh.
I think back then it was
different.
It was just a little taboo.
Mm-hmm.
That's all, and then that's why putting it in that film had the impact that it did. It was almost bringing it to surface, like when a comedian brings something up, you know what I mean, and kind of makes light about it. So I feel like bringing it to that movie really.
And then I feel like we had Stacy's mom, which was right around the same time. That bowling, I think it was Bowling for Soup. I can't exactly remember.
Is that who it was? I remember the song.
Yeah, I definitely remember the song. Stacy's mom, oh, it's so good. It's so good. Stacy, can't you see? You're just not the girl for me. Like, fuck you, Stacy.
Dude, if we get copyright busted because he's singing so perfect,
you can just take me. But thank you so much. I have a horrible singing voice, but thank you so much. But yeah, no, I think, like for me also, I remember the first time that anybody ever called me a MILF and how it made me feel. Now, I was so young when that happened, like because I had Jax at 23, so I'm pretty sure he was like a baby or like maybe close to a year old when it happened for the first time. But I remember I was like recently single and I was talking to somebody and they messaged me back and all it said was MILF John. And I remember I was like,
are they from Philly?
Yeah, dude. I was like, this is not happening. But it's accurate. It's accurate as fuck because I am from Philly. So it's very accurate. But also, I was like, I'm like young. Like, it was just, to me at the time, it did make sense. Now, fast forward to today. Like, I love it. If it's from the right person.
So,
I love it.
Maybe, right? So, there's an age difference here. But when I was in high school, we had a few girls that were pregnant in high school, right?
Which is sick.
Right. But before that, you know, the number, I'm sure, decreased, right? Mm-hmm. So at some point, you're going to have a ton of hot chicks that done already had kids, but they're still young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's maybe and maybe when American Pie around that time and everything, that's when the numbers were high. You know what I mean? They're not that smart. They were skipping school. They were doing other stuff, hanging out with the guy that hangs out across the school.
Fucking pies.
Fucking pies.
You know? So, yeah. But I think it's crazy because, like, I did a little bit of, like, poking around on the internet, and honestly, there's, like, articles, like, about, like, these, it's, like, female empowerment articles almost that are, like, we love MILF culture, like, women are fuckable again, like, guys are finally, like, valuing, like, these things that are so important to us, like, it's so important for me to be a mom, but it's also so important for me to have sexual freedom and freedom of expression like when it comes to sex. So like I love it, like I do. I think it's also just important to note that like me as a person as well, like I don't get offended when people call women bitches. It just doesn't bother me. Maybe because I don't think it's derogatory.
Is there a word that you don't like? Don't like
Not
girls
really.
being called?
No, not really. But like, don't be. It's like in the all in the context, though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I
I'm not
gotcha.
saying like that guys should be like calling their women a bitch. You know what I mean? To be an asshole. But I'm just saying like if you're like sup bitches, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna be like you're sexist.
Right.
That's not my reaction.
Right.
But I think that some things are said to be malicious and then other things are meant to compliment. I feel like it's really easy as any person to take a compliment like either or way. So I just think it's about like knowing your audience. If you're gonna send out like the MILF comment or the bitch comment, you know what I mean? Like these things that we attribute to women and not men. You know what I mean? But like DILF's a thing too. DILF's a thing too.
I feel like it depends on who it's coming from too. You know what I mean? So like definitely, if you would call me a bitch, I'd be okay with that. If somebody else called me a bitch that I didn't really know,
Right.
You know what I mean? It totally that would be different.
Well,
And do you think so? Like a lot of these younger moms, like they sacrificed somewhat of like a youthful, adventurous youth. You know what I mean? To go out and to explore and have fun, not responsibilities.
I
and
am
such
literally
like
the exact definition of that because I got pregnant at 22 and I got married like at 21. So like basically I never got to do the things that normal people do in their 20s because I was too busy raising a child full time.
Right. So then you raise your child, right? And now like
And
now
like
you,
now my daughter, she's like 4. So like now we're getting to a point where I'm like, okay, it is like my time. Like I want to start a business. I definitely go out more than like I used to because now I have like a social life again.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to do those things like after you put that work in. And I knew I was going to get that time. So I never complained about not having fun in my 20s either. You know?
right. So now we have lots of moms that are in that same situation,
30s,
right?
young 40s, yeah.
Now they're going out and whatnot. Now, what they in their head have to compete, which it's not really a competition, but that's just how people think. It is what it is.
It's true.
But now you feel like you're competing against, a younger crowd that might not have kids and whatnot, and you are just
if you're single for sure.
reliving that
If you're
youth.
single,
and,
for sure.
Yeah.
However, like, I can't relate because, like, I will sit at a table with a whole
Right,
bunch
right.
of people my age, and I'm
Right.
the only one that will get carded. So I already know
Right.
that I look younger
Yeah.
than I do, and I definitely.
And I know you ain't
yeah.
in competition with nobody.
No, because I'm me.
Right.
Like, yeah, you already know.
Right.
Like, that, like, time in my life has passed. Like, I definitely know what I bring to the table at any table. And I'm definitely not going to look at somebody else. I love praising other women, though. I do.
You do.
Because you should.
You should.
I'm like, I will literally say anything to anybody at any time.
I know.
Especially if I know they need that shit. Oh, yeah, you're getting it hard.
We've been on photo shoots, people just walking by, and she's just complimenting them in her own little outfit, and these people are coming in like sweaty gym socks and shit, and then she's just like,
You look
"Oh
good."
my gosh, your hair
Yeah.
is fabulous!"
Like,
and
are
I'm
you-
just
shut
like,
the
huh?
fuck up.
Dude,
Like, I
her
do
hair
not-
was pretty nice.
Yeah.
I was like, "That's pretty cool," and she's just like, "I like your heels."